At Times Arrow, we make it our business to study history for the content of the structural forces that shape human civilization and for the richness of the stories which blossom forth from individual lives. Both of these important aspects, we believe, help constitute a fuller understanding of the unfolding of time and the development of our world. Brought together, they help us understand more about the occurrences and recurrences of certain cycles and periods, of the wars, migrations, and debt cycles, the literary and artistic movements, and causes of freedom the world over. And this process helps us learn to read and understand the record of our experience that humanity has kept through all these variegations, from the landmark moments marked by the heights of our moral bravery, intellectual insight, and emotional courage on the one hand, to the recrudescences of what's worst in our species, and frankly, in our own souls on the other. Today it's important that we come together and speak about one of these recrudescences, the pathological, ugly, and stridently viral evil of anti-Semitism. According to the IHRA, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. Although for many years now, Americans have been conscious of a series of troubling social developments, from uncertainty about the financial system and its causes, and the effects of globalization, including America's wars around the world, to the striation marks appearing in the edifice of our democracy. From this to the heroism and the tragedy inherent in the global pandemic, to concerns about our warming planet and the lack of coordination globally about how best to move forward. Along with all these issues and concerns and others, the rise of anti-Semitic sentiment should immediately turn everyone's heads, and it should also raise everyone's voices. Let me put this plainly. Any attacks made against an entire group of people, be it ethnic, religious, class-based, or otherwise, should at the very least draw our immediate suspicion and deep scrutiny. At worst, however, if unchecked, these kinds of attacks can snowball and become the sort of conflict which produces actual violence and, in countless unfortunate cases, bloodshed. We must not allow this to happen. We must stop anti-Semitism in its tracks. These kind of boilerplate attacks are, in my view, evidence of a deep pathological flaw in the thinking and the feeling in the minds of those who would proffer such ugly attacks. They reflect nothing true about the groups being attacked, in this case, the Jewish people, and instead these attacks merely reveal the pathologies in the minds of the attacker. Xenophobia and hate of this kind are redolent of a sort of group scapegoating, which generations who have come before us have worked tirelessly and indeed have given their lives and their livelihoods to abolish from the long litany of human sorrows. Anti-Semitism, sadly, is one of the more frequently recurring of these sorts of scapegoating and hate. In our time, it must not, and indeed, we pledge to you, it will not go unchallenged and unchecked. On behalf of Times Arrow, our entire team, all our users, and our extended network, I want to come out today and officially condemn, in no uncertain terms, any and all acts of anti-Semitism, be they rhetorical, physical, or otherwise, and to stand unequivocally against anti-Semitism in all its forms, and to stand beside the Jewish people as an integral part of our American society, of our wonderful human civilization, of our arts and sciences, and our history. Jews are our friends, our lovers, our colleagues and community members, and indeed they are part of my own personal family. America, the modern world's first and greatest experiment in democracy, is at its best when we cultivate an understanding that all of us, regardless of class, creed, background, or station, are equal before the law and equal as children of humanity. When ugliness rears its head, And we must know that we are all, in some sense, capable of moral ugliness, just as we are all equally capable, in my view, of moral beauty and excellence. When such ugliness as anti-Semitism returns to our public discourse, we must swiftly and uniformly condemn it and work to stamp it out. And from that stamped ground, let us together plant a seed of healing and commit ourselves to rejuvenating our moral understanding, our concern for history and for each other, for our present moment and for those who will come after us, to help ensure that a brighter, more humane, and more beneficent flower might once again bloom in its place. Thank you, and Godspeed.